parents always adored my brother, and I didn't exist for them, so I moved out of the house. 2 years later, they were at my door, but I reminded them of the past days. I, 24F, have always felt like an outsider in my own family. For as long as I can remember, my older brother Jake, 27M, has been the golden child. Our parents doted on him, celebrated his every achievement, and seemed to hang on to his every word. Meanwhile, I often felt invisible, my accomplishments went unseen, and my needs were overlooked. My earliest memory of this dynamic dates back to when I was just 5 years old. It was Jake's 8th birthday, and our parents had thrown him an elaborate superhero-themed party. The entire backyard was decorated with streamers and balloons, and they even hired a magician for entertainment. I remember feeling excited, running around in my little Wonder Woman costume, eager to join in the fun. But as the party progressed, I realized that no one was really paying attention to me. When I tried to show off the cartwheel I'd learned in gymnastics class, my mom just patted my head absently and turned back to cooing over Jake as he opened his mountain of presents. I ended up sitting alone by the snack table, watching as Jake basked in the attention of our parents and all the party guests. This pattern continued as we grew older. Jake was always the center of attention, athletic, popular, and charming. Our parents never missed one of his football games, proudly cheering from the sidelines. They'd throw elaborate parties for his birthdays, inviting what felt like half the town. When Jake got his driver's license, they surprised him with a brand new car. I, on the other hand, was more introverted and academically inclined. I'd spend hours studying, pouring my heart into my schoolwork, but my straight A's were met with indifference. When I won the state spelling bee in 8th grade, my parents didn't even attend, they were too busy at one of Jake's football practices. I still remember standing on that stage, scanning the audience for familiar faces, only to realize that no one had come to support me. There was one person who always saw me, though, my grandmother. She lived a few hours away, so we didn't see her often, but she never failed to acknowledge my achievements. She'd send me handwritten letters of congratulations, always ending with, "I'm so proud of you, my little star." When she passed away during my sophomore year of high school, it felt like I'd lost my only ally. High school was a particularly tough time. Jake coasted by with mediocre grades but was still treated like royalty at home. I maintained my 4.0 GPA, joined every academic club I could, and even started tutoring other students. But it felt like my efforts went completely unnoticed. I remember one particularly painful incident during my junior year. I had stayed up late for weeks working on a research project for the science fair. The night before the fair, I was putting the finishing touches on my presentation board in the living room. Jake came home late from a party, clearly drunk. He stumbled into my project, knocking it over and spilling beer all over my carefully prepared charts and graphs. I was devastated, months of work ruined in an instant. But when our parents came downstairs to see what the commotion was about, their reaction shocked me. Instead of reprimanding Jake, they fussed over him, worried that he might have hurt himself when he fell. My dad helped Jake to bed while my mom started cleaning up the mess. When I burst into tears, frustrated and heartbroken, my mom just sighed and told me to stop being dramatic. I stayed up all night redoing my project. I managed to salvage enough to put together a decent presentation and ended up winning second place in the fair. But when I came home with my silver medal, my parents barely glanced up from the TV where they were watching one of Jake's old football games. When it came time to apply for colleges, Jake barely put any effort into his applications. He assumed he'd get a football scholarship somewhere. I, on the other hand, spent months perfecting my essays and applications. I was determined to get into a top university and prove my worth. I applied to a dozen schools, including my dream school, a prestigious university known for its excellent mathematics program. I'd been eyeing this school since I was 14, when I attended a summer math camp on their campus. The experience had been transformative. For the first time, I was surrounded by people who shared my passion for numbers and equations. I felt seen and understood in a way I never had before. Fast forward to last week, both Jake and I were set to receive our final university acceptance letters and scholarship offers. The night before, our parents took Jake out to a fancy dinner to celebrate in advance. They didn't even ask if I wanted to join. I spent the evening alone in my room, trying not to let it get to me. The next morning, things only got worse. Mom made Jake's favorite breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes with